everyone, I'm Jessica. Is anyone else exhausted from trying to keep up with Nintendo online the last week or two? Man, it is such a mess. So we're getting into the Nintendo Direct season in February, which if you're not familiar with that, I'll get into more details later. But there's all kinds of wild rumors going around. Are we gonna get a reveal of a ton of first-party games in the next week or two? We already found out we're for sure getting a Tomodachi Life dedicated Direct, which I'm very excited about. But there's all these other rumors going around about we're going to get all these huge first-party Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive games in one big Direct, or some people are speculating the Direct's not going to happen at all, or it's going to be a partner Direct. So I kind of just wanted to go over all the details and then give what I think. So let's get started. So I was watching Arla's video and I thought he did a really good job of just kind of going over the facts of the Directs historically. So we'll kind of start from there. So there are usually 3 Nintendo Directs a year, sometimes 2, usually 3, and those generally fall in February, June, and September. So at those times, they are releasing things that mostly first party and some partners, but aligning with certain times of the year. So like September, of course, they're going to be talking about a lot of their holiday games. In February, we're just getting started with the year. So it's just kind of like all the big things to look forward to that year in general. And sometimes games are mentioned like in more than one Direct. So just because it's mentioned in one Direct doesn't mean we won't find out more later in the second Direct. But I think because a lot of people are giving the feedback that we're just not getting a major first-party system seller for the Switch 2 yet. A lot of people are just thirsty for that next Nintendo Direct. Let's go over some of these leaks. So I know that gaming is kind of a male-dominated thing, and especially a lot of the Nintendo channels are more guys, but I just think the word leak is a little funny because to me it's more like gossip, because this is all unconfirmed and kind of like water cooler gossip you hear around the office. So let's go over the gossip. So all of those Nate the Hate, Attack the Backlog, Switch Force, they kind of have their own ecosystem, and they do have, not to say there's no fidelity to it, they have been accurate at times, but they are just kind of passing on what they're hearing. So we've heard that there could be a Direct coming up February 5th, and there could possibly be a new 3D Mario being shown off on that. I do think we are due for a 3D Mario. Check out my video about like my 2026 predictions. I just think that makes sense fiscally. We had the Switch 2 half a year, 9 months now. We don't have a Mario title. Like Nintendo, yes, they are more than Mario in their ecosystem, but like he's their number one boy. He's their number one moneymaker. And so it makes sense to get that out early in the system. Also, we have the movie coming up this year, and we know that that boosts the Mario sales overall. So yeah, all that makes sense that we will get a 3D Mario this year, but will we get it like in this Direct in the next few weeks? That, I don't know. We also heard potential speculation of Yoshi's Woolly World, which came out on the Wii U, possibly coming over as a port. I personally don't believe this. I know there's been some leaked pictures of it being included in some artwork earlier from Nintendo of like would be included in Switch 2 graphics support. Not to say that would never happen. Just from someone that works in software sales, I find it a little hard to believe that they would bring over Woolly World when they already have Yoshi's Crafted Book set to release in a few months for spring of 2026. Although, who knows, because they also put out like Mario Kart and Kirby Air Riders, which are both like really similar racing games within a few months of each other. So Nintendo gonna Nintendo. Okay, then we also saw Walmart recently, just happened today, had an ad show up that showed a couple of new GameCube games that could be being added to NSO, and those were Pikmin 2 and Metroid Prime 2. Those would be both kind of random because I don't think the part 1 of either of those is in the GameCube, so who knows, or it could just be some intern made an editing mistake. Like, I just don't know how much this holds. So let's go over what we do know for sure from Nintendo. So in the last few weeks, Nintendo's been dropping so much random information on Twitter, on their Nintendo Today app, all over the place. So let's like kind of compile this information and just go over like, is this enough to replace a Nintendo Direct? Are we going to get like a partnership Nintendo Direct? What do we think is going to happen? So we got Donkey Kong Returns, which was ported to the Switch in January of 2025. Is originally a Wii title. It just randomly, like last week, got Dixie Kong added and like possibly even some new levels. I don't personally own that title, but it got a good chunk of content just like randomly added. So, all right, thanks. And then we got a new trailer for Mario Wonder Switch 2 Edition, that Bella Bella Park. I am pretty excited about that one. I may be in the minority. I know it's not like a good, even like individual player experience. It's mostly multiplayer. But I'm always looking for like short experiences to play with my 9-year-old. And I think it has a lot of really good approachable things for young kids learning to play video games. So I'll make a separate video on that. But we got a pretty good chunk of information about Bella Bella Park and that Switch 2 edition, as well as new amiibos, even including some more obscure characters like the Elephant Mario, which I guess he's not obscure, but like Toad, and then maybe the flower thing. I forget the third one, but I'll include pictures. And then we got a new Mario Galaxy movie trailer. And I thought the trailer was super interesting because it referenced a lot of Mario Odyssey things. And I just do think that kind of, to me, says we're not going to get that in the same direct as like a brand new 3D Mario title, just because they're kind of, it's all about like your intellectual property and then using that as an ecosystem to like sell all the merch, sell the games that go with the movies, and et cetera, et cetera. And I did think it was super interesting that in the Galaxy, they featured that dinosaur that was really iconic from Odyssey, as well as those Sand Kingdoms guys. And I know there'd been some merch that has come out as well, like soap brands or something that also had the Sand Kingdom on it. So I had earlier predicted, like, for sure we're going to get a new holiday 3D Mario this year, just not based on leaks, just what I think. I still do think that's true, but I'm starting to wonder if they're going to hold off and not show us anything until either the summer direct or possibly September, but I really think possibly in June. Because if the movie comes out in April, they're going to want to sell all these amiibos, all the Switch 2 edition. They have a lot of family titles that are coming out in the summer and that are going to be friendly for children. And so maybe that 3D Mario title is not that same audience because it is more for hardcore gamers or more an individual experience, less likely your kids playing with your parents type thing. So maybe they're not going to release that until after the movie hype has started to die down. We also did find out that we're having a Tomodachi Life coming up in a few days. I'm very excited about that. I was an Animal Crossing fan, but I started to lose some interest in it. And Tomodachi Life, I didn't get to play it on the 3DS because I was busy playing games on my Apple products at those times before those went gross. But Tomodachi Life just looks so fun and quirky and just like super fun to make videos about and just like, I don't know, do something stupid, enjoy your time for a bit. Life's too serious right now. So I am looking forward to that and I will be watching that direct. And then we found Splatoon 3 had pretty major game added content. So we knew that was coming up, but it was more content added than expected, including like a health meter, which pretty majorly changes how you play the game. I'm not a Splatoon girly myself, but all of that does add a lot to that platform. And that is a very online game. So like keeping it fresh and in people's minds is important, but that would also make me think we're not really getting a Splatoon 4 anytime soon. But we are getting Splatoon Raiders, we know. Well, Nintendo has announced sometime later this year. But nothing on that. And then also just today, I believe, we got a Virtual Boy trailer that included 2 brand new games that were never even released to the market. So you may or may not know the Virtual Boy was a wildly unsuccessful first VR attempt for Nintendo in the mid-90s. And I do want this Virtual Boy so bad. I know it's just plastic and $100, but what can I say? The nostalgia of the simpler times. So I do want this against my better spending judgment, but it is a fun piece that is basically a plastic insert. Your Switch does all of the work and they're bringing those Virtual Boy games to life as part of your NSO membership. So that's all of the stuff. I better edit this video quickly before 14 more things come out that I have to add. So, but as of right now, it's January 27th. That's all we have right now. And I did hear a few other people talking about, well, it's been so long since we had a Direct, like surely we're gonna have a Nintendo Direct that February 5th. But I did look it up. In October, we had a Kirby Air Riders Direct, and before that in September was our last big Nintendo Direct. But if we go back to Arlo's history lesson I talked about in the beginning, February, June, September are the 3 major dates. So really we're just now due for the next one. So even though it feels like we're overdue and we really haven't had that much to play on the Switch 2 system, I think from Nintendo's point of view, we're not. So my personal conclusion, my best guess, is that we're actually going to get a partner Direct, which I am disappointed about, honestly, as an early adopter. I want more Switch 2 titles to play that are more casual friendly. I am really excited about Tamagotchi Life, as I mentioned, as well as the Wonder Switch 2 edition. That's just that $20 add-on. But even with that Wonder Switch 2 edition, it's really just gonna be something I play with my son casually on the couch every now and again. It's not gonna be like the meat and potatoes of my gaming experience. And Tamagotchi Life looks really fun, but it's not even a Switch 2 exclusive. So I am struggling to cope a little bit on justifying my $500 whatever purchase of the Switch 2 and then accessories too. Oh my gosh. So I think this is not the best idea if it's a partnership, but that is kind of my guess based on all the evidence, because this is a pretty good chunk of stuff that Nintendo's put out in the last week or two. And I just can't imagine we have a whole hour's worth more of just Nintendo stuff outside of all this, just based on, I rewatched some of the last Directs and even from September, and I know it only had like a tepid reception, but I don't know. I think we better manage our expectations, potentially get out that 3DS and dust that off and keep busy elsewhere. I don't know. We could be waiting till, I think, like I said, let me put up the 2026 lineup again. My personal guess, we are going to get a partner Direct. You can have other things to play, and then we'll get our next Direct in June. And then we will learn more about Rhythm Heaven, Splatoon Raiders, and I think also get 2 or 3 other, well, probably one to 3 other first party titles that we don't know about. So thanks for tuning in, listening to all my thoughts. Hit subscribe, hit like, tell me why I'm wrong in the comments. All of those are great. Any engagement's good. And thanks, guys. Bye.